Awesome. Well, nice to see you, James. Thank you so much for accepting.
My pleasure.
I'm going to be interviewing you for Students for Abolition
Yes.
Club at UNF.
Yes.
Abolitionists are fighting for the equal protection of the unborn under the law, extending the 5th and 14th Amendment to include preborn with no exceptions for things like rape or incest when it comes to abortion. So you have said it before, you're in favor of abolishing abortion. So what would it look like to you at a state level in terms of bills you would sign?
Well, if any equal protection bill came across my desk, I would sign it. It'd be the honor of a lifetime. But I actually don't think we need to sign a new bill. I mean, the founding fathers, the framers have given us the 14th Amendment, which says that you cannot deprive life without due process. And so life begins at conception. We cannot deprive life. We cannot kill life. Abortion is murder. Murder is illegal. We don't need to create a new law. And so I'm going to study this issue very closely. But all the research I've done says the 14th Amendment already gives us the ability to abolish abortion. And I would use that tool to do so as governor.
Awesome. And so about the Supreme Court, because Florida Supreme Court has the reputation of being very conservative, right? One of the most conservative in the country. But still, Amendment 4 was allowed to be on the ballot 2 years ago. Things with the God it didn't pass, but it was still allowed to be on the ballot. And so, as governor, you get to appoint Supreme Court justices for the state. So, will you commit to appoint justices who will fight from step one without even allowing it to be even a discussion, since we agree that it's murder?
Agreed. And my basic condition for any Supreme Court appointment to the Florida Supreme Court would be, do you believe that life begins at conception, and will you rule that way as well? So that's my litmus test. If you say no to that, you cannot be considered for this Florida Supreme Court.
We agree that human life begins at conception, and that must be defended. But it also involves the topic of IVF. And IVF involves many human lives being made, but also it discards and freezes and eventually destroys fetuses. So, what would you do against IVF in Florida?
I would ban IVF.
Awesome. And for abortion pills, because it's also one of the major ways how women get abortions today in the state. And we saw states like Wyoming where they took the initiative to ban those pills. What would you do about those pills that would be access in Florida about abortion pills?
I would ban them as well.
Many mothers seek abortion due to unplanned pregnancies and very rough economical conditions sometimes. So as governor, how do you plan to encourage charity to support those mothers and offer them another way to save their babies that does not involve murder?
The best way to do it is to support the existing network of Christian crisis pregnancy centers that are all over the state. Make sure they have the resources, the funding that they need to keep doing what they've already done successfully and saving lives every single day.
Awesome. And we saw a lot of politicians that run with the position of being pro-life or opposed to abortion. A lot of them compromising on the issue as soon as they get into office. And some of them, even before getting to office, like we saw Congressman Byron Donald saying that he believes it's a personal choice, personal issue, which obviously we know it's not, it's murder. But how do you view the issue of exceptions to abortion when it comes to the law, like about, some would say, oh, if the abortion was a result of rape or incest or something horrible as this, how would you treat that issue under the law?
Well, what's also horrible is murder.
Absolutely.
And killing an innocent life is murder. The only exception that I support is the life of the mother. And that's a very strict standard. That is not, well, the mother is depressed and we think she might take her life, so no. The actual life of the mother, and there's so few cases of that it's pretty much inconsequential. We have to get real. Less than 0.5% of abortions are because of sexual assault. Most abortions, as in 99% of abortions, are because women have decided that either they don't want the baby or they're not in a financial position to have the baby. And both of those things can be addressed without killing one of God's beautiful creations.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you so much.